So how do you know if your financial advisor is actually helping you or just really good at smiling during meetings and nodding a lot? Look, most people have no clue how to tell if their advisor is crushing it or just quietly costing them a fortune. So in this episode, we're going to break down the key signs that your advisor may be a little bit more sizzle than actual steak and how to spot a true financial rock star advisor. Plus, I'm going to share a real life case study that proves financial wellness is not just a myth. It is totally doable. With the right help, you guys can make it. Trust me, your money will thank you for listening to this episode. So stay tuned. Practice owners, tired of working hard but not seeing the financial results you deserve? I'm Eric Miller, and my best-selling book, How to Become a Financial Beast, is your game changer. Learn how to maximize profits, pay yourself right, and build wealth outside your practice. Download now for free. All right, welcome back to the Financial Beast podcast. I am your host, co-owner, chief advisor, Eric Miller, along with my servant, my junior
advisor extraordinaire,
Eric Gersch. And in case you guys don't know who we are Econologics Financial Advisors. We offer premier financial advice for healthcare owners and associates as well. Look, it's really simple. We show you how to clean up, build up, and grow up your finances so that you guys can exit out at the top of your game. You can always check us out at econologicsfinancialadvisors.com. We have plenty of materials there, or you can schedule an intro call with us, which I would highly recommend that you do. That being said, I thought today we would actually go over a case study because, quite frankly, nowadays, people don't believe anything unless you show it to them.
Got to prove it.
And we thought it'd be fun just to go over a couple of, case studies that we've done with people. So now case studies are hard to do in our industry because the compliance is just incredibly hard. And not only that, but like, how do you measure whether or not someone's actually doing better or not because of you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think those are all questions that people have, right? Like, hey, why would I move to somebody else when I kind of feel my existing advisor is doing okay? I'm sure you've gotten that before, haven't you?
Oh, of course. Many times. I think every advisor has.
And it is kind of it is an interesting question because it really goes to, hey, what is a financial advisor there to do? And more importantly, how does he prove whether or not you're actually getting better or you're getting worse?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because last Friday I was talking with a potential new client who did end up wanting to move forward. And but anyways, his big question was, how do I actually quantify that I'm getting anything of value from a financial advisor?
Yeah. Well, how do most people quantify it right now?
I think the standard, I'll be honest, I don't think a lot of people know how to quantify it. I think a lot of people just see finance as something that's overly complicated. And so they outsource it and they just assume that the advisor, I should say, is doing better than they would do on their own.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's so many different areas that one can measure, but predominantly what I've experienced, what I've heard over the years, whether or not my advisor is doing a good job or not, is I just bring up my portfolio, no matter how much is in it. Okay. Could be $50,000 in there and I'm 65 years old. But hey, my advisor made me 10% last year, while I'm terrifyingly underfunded for retirement.
Exactly.
So you have a lot of, I mean, let's face it. I mean, people don't really know how to measure whether or not their advisor is doing a good job or a bad job. And is that on the people? I don't think so.
No.
I think it's on the industry. Okay. So, I think there's a couple of things that you can use to measure whether or not someone's an advisor is doing a good job for you. There's there's definitely the quantifiable stuff,
Statistics.
Which is my stats. Is my net worth increasing? Is my income increasing? Is my business value increasing? Are my retirement assets increasing? Okay. Are my debts decreasing? Are my taxes decreasing?
Yep.
Okay. What else? And is my stuff fairly well protected in case I should get attacked somehow?
Yeah.
Okay. Those are all
all that stuff can be quantified.
Those are all measurable.
Yep.
Okay. Those are all measurable. Matter of fact, I am going to bring up something that we use all the time. You tell me if it actually comes up or not. Because we've had really difficulties on stuff actually working before, haven't we? And looks like we're going to continue to have difficulties on some of this stuff. Let me see if this works. Window, this right here. Here we go. You see it?
Yep.
Okay. So this is one of the ways that we measure whether or not it's like a scorecard. Okay. You have to have a scorecard if you're going to try to win the game.
Yep.
Okay. And in the financial world, you need a scorecard to win the game. So when we talk about like, hey, how do you measure whether or not you're going to get results or not? Well, we created this thing freaking years ago and we still use it all the time.
Every day.
Right? All the time. And what is it? It is what we call their financial prosperity index, call it a scorecard, call it whatever you want to. It basically breaks down all the areas that of finance that relate to you. Okay. Yep. From how well you have, what kind of a plan that you have, like what kind of policies and agreements do you have with yourself and your spouse about how money's going to be handled, how well the business is actually doing, how well it's expanding, how valuable it is, how much money that you're making now and how much you're creating for future income, kind of the retirement income stat, the quality of your debt and credit, your estate plan, the tax situation you're in, your asset protection, and then your investments. Ideally, we'd like to see you in the green zone on all of these points right here.
Yep.
Okay. Now, you can actually go out right on our website and take this assessment. It will give you a score. We'll go over it with you, but it's a starting point. Okay. Yes. It's an actual starting point that you can now see. This is where I'm at right now. Good, bad, or ugly.
It gives us a big picture overview of where you're at.
It doesn't tell us
those areas.
Yeah. It doesn't tell us everything.
No.
Okay.
But it does tell us a lot.
It does give us a lot of information, okay, about areas that you're deficient in. So when people say like, hey, how do you quantify, how well you're doing? I'm like, well, this is one of the ways that we can certainly do it. You got to have some stats that are going to show that. Now, most people on this, get a D or an F right off the bat. I mean, it's like very few people that I've seen ever have an A score. Okay.
Yep.
But that is, but to your point, that's like one of the first things that we have to do right there is that we have to establish like what a score would be. And that's a great scorecard to be able to, tell what condition somebody's in. No doubt. Okay. Now, the other part of whether or not a financial advisor is doing well by you is I think your outlook, your confidence level, and your emotional well-being as well.
Correct.
Because when we were just talking about a client today who's like, he was all right when he came to us, but he's really all right now,
That's one way to put it.
That's one way to put it. But, he feels a lot more confident. I'm sure there's some areas of finance where he's not stressed about. And that's important because the stress level that you have, that certainly has a negative impact on decision making. Okay. So a financial advisor should also be someone that you can depend upon to help you keep things in perspective. Never get too high, never get too low. Make sure that you are calm and you're making rational, logical financial decisions. And I think that's another area of whether or not an advisor is doing well by you, I would think. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, if you're using an advisor, you should be not just reviewing investment accounts a couple times a year. You should be bouncing any of these big financial decisions off of them.
Yeah.
Or her.
Yeah. I mean, we get questions all the time. I mean, I get questions all the time.
Every day. I get texts, I get random calls. Sometimes they're huge things. Hey, I'm going to buy this building for $4 million. Can I afford it? And sometimes, I mean, I've had clients call me and say, hey, I'm at a car lot right now and I'm looking at buying this used car for $15,000 and the interest rate's 7%. Do you think this is fair? So, I mean, it runs the whole gamut.
It really does.
But you should be utilizing your advisor for all that direction, not just what's my rate of return.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that to me is like, that's the whole purpose of having an advisor. Yeah, which is, again, but boggles my mind why you guys accept a service model where you're talking to your guy once a year or twice a year when it comes to your finances.
I think it's because, unfortunately, the industry as a whole, excluding a small percentage of us, have set that as the expectation.
It is, and I get it, because if I'm a financial advisor and I'm just getting paid a percentage of that person's portfolio, and it ain't big enough,
Yeah. There's no incentive to help that person.
If it's $100,000, if it's $100,000 and I'm making, what's that, $1,000?
Yeah, before any splits,
Do you think I'm going to spend an inordinate amount of time on you?
No.
I'm not going to spend every waking moment on you because of that. Not a chance.
Nope.
Okay. So there has to be fair exchange, and this is why kind of the model sucks for most people, and that's why most advisors aren't talking to the majority of people. They're only talking with people that have over $500,000 in assets.
Yep.
Okay. So, which is why I think our model is so cool, because, we have it set up where, hey man, you're going to pay for advice, and you're going to get our advice every flippin' month.
Yep. You're paying for advice, you're paying for planning, and you're going to get those regular calls every, 4, 5, 6 weeks to stay on top of things.
Absolutely. Okay. But I said we go through a case study, so let's go through a case study.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Okay. So you'll probably know who this person is, maybe you will.
I think I already know who you chose.
Did it come up? Real word application. Okay. So this is Dr. O. He was an optometrist in Minnesota.
I know who it is.
Yeah, you know exactly who it is. Okay. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, man. When he came to us, I was pretty new. Actually, I was about a year and a half in. Okay.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was maybe 2 years. Maybe 2 years. Okay. I had never seen a case like this before in my entire life. Ever.
Oh, I know. I've heard.
Okay. Ever seen someone that did some of the things that he did. Right. Now,
wild investments, right?
What an awesome guy, right? A really unbelievable practitioner, great optometrist, great practice owner. Had multiple practitioners, and great family, great wife, great kids. One of his kids was like, a star on Broadway, very musical guy, just a, just
great person all around. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can't really say enough nice things about him. I really can't. Right?
No, I know you can. I know who you're talking about, and I agree with every single thing you said.
But oh my God, like,
not great at choosing investments.
The things that he would do with money kind of baffled my mind, And I just remember like when we first did his score and I talked to him, it was like, okay, I don't get it. Like, you're so smart, you're so intelligent, like, and yet when you get a dollar, like, you go out of your way to waste this thing. You
Yep.
didn't mean to, but he definitely got caught up in like the whole speculative private placement, like, whatever that world is. Alternatives. It was just obsessed with them. Obsessed. Okay. And none of them worked out. None of them. It wasn't one time and I learned my lesson. It wasn't 2 times I learned my lesson. It wasn't 3 or 4.
It was about a dozen.
It was. And I'd look at his balance sheet and I'm like looking at all of these alternative investments that he had. And I mean, look at them today right now. They were all a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when he came to us, I mean, I think he knew inherently this was, something that was a ruin for him, but I don't think he knew how to get out of it,
Yeah.
So
he was
he definitely, he had a very unclear and he was super stressed because the practice, which was doing really well, he had a high burn rate too. He liked to spend money.
Yep.
His financial readiness score was at a 443, which was pretty abysmal for a guy that I think where he was. And, he was able to kind of muster away like $465,000 in retirement savings. But, he was 60 years old, 58 years old or something like that. So that's not that much.
No. That's not what he needs to retire.
He had almost zero exit plan and his practice value was at about $2.1 million at that point in time. Okay. That was it, and it took about 9 years.
Yep.
Right?
We tell everybody that you're to really get you to where you want to be.
I need some time.
If you listen to us and implement, you still need 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. I do need if we have a good 10 years and you doing what you're supposed to do and listening to us, like you can have an amazing outcome.
Yes.
Like it's not promised to you, but you can have an amazing outcome.
Yep.
If that is the case. Okay. And he ended up having an amazing outcome.
Yeah, I can see that.
And what he did was, and he didn't listen to everything I said, but he listened to a lot of what we said. Okay. We started putting a lot more control over the money. We started channeling some money, outside of his business so that it didn't get lost in the business and get spent somewhere. We did some tax strategies that really helped him out. Okay. We just put a lot more control in, and I let him do what he does, which was run a really good practice. Okay. But we made sure that he kind of omitted, I couldn't get him to completely stop doing the alternatives. Well, we reduced it down about 90%.
Good enough.
To where he was, right? About 90%, where we started using other vehicles, to channel money into that have a much higher degree of likelihood that are going to pay him back. Okay.
Yep.
So it was about maybe 3 years ago now, right now, where he called me up and said, "Hey, I have an offer for my practice." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah. And you're not going to believe how much it is." I'm like, "Well, tell me." He's like, "It's going to be about $9.2 million. I'm like, "Damn, really?" It's like, "Yeah." Like, and, it was kind of a, part equity, a lot of cash up front and everything like that. But it was more than what he thought he was ever going to get.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm going to guess, just to clarify for listeners too, the line above that where you say savings 2.1 million.
Yeah.
He had that before the sale money.
Correct. So
he had saved over 9 years about somewhere between 1.6 and 1.7.
Yeah. So
and
for all of you,
sold for another 9.2.
Yeah. So for all of those those of you that think that you're behind, trust me, if you're dedicated to it, and if you knock off some of the nutty spending, you can, really accelerate your retirement savings. You can totally do it.
Yep.
If this guy can do it, trust me, anyone can do it. Okay. But yeah, he had 2.1 million in retirement savings. His that scorecard was a 777 because he got a lot of other stuff done too along the way. All right. And he ended up selling his practice for almost $9.2 million. And now, if you look at him, which, I wish I could show you guys a picture of how unbelievably good he looks.
Oh, I'm
right?
sure.
He moved to Arizona with his wife. They bought a house there. Okay. He's retired. He still has some equity in the other group, which is now starting to, give him some cash flow. He's got more than enough income the way that we structured the deal so that it paid him for, 3 or 4 years. And, a lot of the proceeds are now going to generate cash flow, and he's good. He's pretty
not
much
stressed.
Yeah. He's set for life at that point in time. Right. But he was willing to hey, look and say, there are definitely things that I know and there are definitely things that I don't know. And there's clearly things that I'm good at and there's clearly things that I'm not good at. And he put enough trust in us to be able to say, I think you guys know what you're talking about here when it comes to handling money, handling the investments, setting up what my cash flow is going to look like. And now that's all we're doing right now is setting up okay, when do we start drawing money from these different accounts? What are we looking at from a tax perspective? Legacy planning, all that stuff, which is to me that's more enjoyable. I like after 9 years and people sell. I think that's fun planning to do.
Absolutely.
It really is fun planning to do for people.
I love it myself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not so much fun in that first 5 to 9 years. And I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's much fun as an advisor for a lot of people.
Not all the time.
It really isn't. I mean,
it's got its moments, but yeah.
I mean, we have points where it's great, but there are points in time where I know life gets hard, cash flow gets tight, businesses that always do well. And it's tough. And we feel it too. We absolutely feel it.
Yeah, we feel our clients' stress, no doubt about that.
We have a target for you as well, and we want to hit that target. And that is, and once we do it, I could tell you, because we've had a bunch of people selling this year again. It's actually fun to see what happens afterwards.
Yes.
So
it's fun to see. I mean, what you're basically doing as an advisor is you're seeing 5 to 10 years of hard work pay off at that point.
Yeah. Of good control.
Rewarding.
Yeah. Of good advice, of, doing proper planning. And then all of a sudden you get this big windfall of money. And then, now's the job to make sure that it's going to last you for, the rest of your life.
Yep.
And that is again part of our job as well.
That's what we're here for.
That's it. It can be done. It doesn't need to take a lifetime to do all this. Like I said, you guys give us 5 to 10 years and you really dedicate yourself to growing your practice and, not, and being profitable as best you can. You're going to have a great outcome if you know how to handle the money before it comes in. So, I thought that would be, kind of a fun thing as to go over a case study like that. Yeah. I'm sure you have plenty too.
Yeah, no, I'll maybe not next meeting, but one of our future podcasts, I'll go through one of my clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. It's like I said, it's never going to be a smooth sail, but man, you get some really fundamental steps built in. You start seeing results right away, but you guys got to make sure how you quantify what your advisor does for you. It's got to be stats. And it also has to be your confidence level and level of stress reduced and dependability upon, can I call this person anytime I want to? And he knows my business. He knows the situation I'm in, right? Because a lot can happen in 3 months. A lot can happen in 6 months, right?
Oh, yeah.
Lot can happen in a year. All right. And, so you have to keep a recurring communication line in so people don't fall off the cliff. That is for sure. So, okay. I think that's good.
All right.
We'll see you guys on the next podcast.
Have a good 4th of July.